I'm Matt coming to you with my buddy J4Y. We're just going to be doing ourselves a little podcast here. We're going to theme it on just heroes and heroes we've been playing, heroes we've seen a lot, and heroes that we're really hoping to get a chance to see in the future. What's going on, buddy?
You forgot to mention that it's called Brochat at the moment. TM. We got
trademarked.
Trademarked. I went to the patent office. I don't even know if that's where they do it, but no, it's good, man. I'm good. Excited to finally get this rolling. I guess this portion of it. Meanwhile, if you notice, is the video. This is just a random game from the DotA International, so that way you have something pretty to watch while we entice you with our lovely voices and interesting conversation bits. How are you doing?
If our voices weren't enough,
which they are.
Some stuff.
So,
I guess.
So yeah.
I am mesmerized by my own voice often.
That's kind of creepy.
Well, it happens. Happens to the best of us. So who have you been playing a lot lately? We play a lot together, so I guess I have kind of a good idea. But how about that ancient apparition, my friend?
Oh, how I love him. And the thing is, when we played Dota 1 so far back in the day, actually, what was it? Dota versus AI? That was our favorite thing to do back. That was way back in the day. But, when we stopped playing, Ancient Apparition came out after that, so I never even got to try him out. And he just looked so fun and interesting from all the Dota tournaments, we got to watch. And I was like, when I get that beta key, that is the first hero I want to go for. And as my 7-3 amazing record with him shows, pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's practically unstoppable. Practically, except for 3, I guess.
Well, no one counts.
You're unstoppable 70% of the time.
That's
pretty good statistic. Yeah,
no, go.
Oh, fine, I will. As you're saying, Ancient Apparition, Batrider, Tarn Chieftain, I think was the third hero that came out after we stopped playing. So I'm actually really interested to see him. I never really understood exactly what he did. I've never seen him played. So as I said, I've never seen him play it, so I don't think he's really going to pop up in tournament play. But I can hope, I can dream.
Tarn Chieftain. So that was Karen, like the Karen model.
Yeah, he was like a spectral Tarn.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay, so not the guy that does all the charging. Not
Bartram?
Yeah, not him.
Spirit Breaker. No, different guy.
Oh man, Spirit Breaker. That's just a whole nother story.
Yeah, I love Spirit Breaker. I think Batrider and Chieftain came out about the same time. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
I remember Batrider. Batrider was towards the end of our era. I didn't even play him that much because I had no idea how the hay he worked. But, honestly, obviously a good hero. It doesn't get picked in professional games, but we'll get to that segment. That's down the road. Let me get back to my Ancient Apparition because I love the guy. If it's a guy, I don't know what it's a spirit. I guess it's an apparition, if you will.
You might say.
if that's what one would classify it as.
An older gentleman.
And unfortunately, he's banned in this game. That's kind of sad. But, he's just such a great presence overall. I try to run Soul Mid. I have played him as support, which he's pretty decent at, too. He does have that slow magic magic armor reduction. But really, I love playing him middle because you get those early levels. You can pretty much dominate anyone. Maybe not a strength hero like Pudge is a pretty hard counter to him. But, anyone, he does so much damage right away, and it's very mana intensive, but if you can get that high damage and get that bottle really quick, you really get that early advantage. And then I just love him also. I love global alts, and, we play League of Legends too, of course, and, that game has a lot more of those kind of global things, but any hero that has a global presence can really be useful.
Yeah, those global alties, those are like the ones where people just cry broken, like flat out. Like, think of like Prophet. I wrote an article that, once we get a website going up, Prophet's kind of the crux of this whole idea of broken and trying to figure out what that really means. But his teleport around the map, very strong. The Ancient Apparition being able to shoot that ulti across the map, very strong. So, Spectre is a hero that's picked up quite often in professionals, and that ultimate really, really strong, and it doesn't get utilized as much as a ganking tool as I really think it should be. You get to pop it, and you get to see where all the enemy heroes are, and you can really catch some supports in really unfortunate positions, trying to run wards out and stuff, or pulling creeps out in the jungle and then by themselves, and there's a free kills that people don't really take advantage of a whole lot. But yeah, those global ultis, I'm struggling to think of a hero that has a global ability that isn't picked up like regularly.
Well, Zeus in professional.
Zeus, yeah, that's true. Zeus doesn't get picked up that often, even though he's still very strong. Yeah,
I think he's a good hero as well. And I mean, I guess the only reason he's probably not picked up as much just is because if you build like any kind of magic resistance and get like that pipe, for example, I mean, all he has is damage. He doesn't really. He brings like mini stuns, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Tiny. He has a lot of that up front, and Jykro really too. There's really strong nukers. Jakiro, yes. What did I say? Jykro?
Jykro.
Yes.
I was like, is that like a micro machine or something? I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, those upfront strong nukers, they don't get picked up too often, unfortunately. I think, yeah, they just don't. They really should be. I really like Zeus. I really like that style of play too. But yeah, like you said, a lot of heroes, they just kind of wind up, especially the supports or like Venomancer, we've seen a lot lately. They just pick up that pipe anyway, just kind of because people do spell damage.
It's not super expensive. I mean, it's built with a headdress, right? Is that the other component?
Yeah, for pipe, and then it's 900 on top of that, I believe, to finish up. The 900 is the cost of the recipe.
Okay, so it's kind of expensive.
It's expensive, but the nice thing about it is it's not like Butterfly, where it's like, okay, I need something costs 900, then 1800, and then 3300. Like all the parts, the most expensive part of the whole thing is the recipe, actually, and under that, it's just the Ring of Health. So it's not really stuff that you have to struggle all game to try and get. I think that's really why supports pick it up a lot, because all the individual pieces are actually really cheap. And even if you run around with just a headdress for a while, the stats and then just the AoE health regen around you is quite nice. I mean, the one global ulti I love, or it's not an ulti, but the global is the Crystal Maiden aura. I mean, I love Crystal Maiden to death. I play her as much as I can. Such a just useful hero overall. I really wish people would play her or build teams around her. Like, I don't actually know what it's like to try and build a lineup for a professional team, but the way it seems to work in my head is it's a lot of, okay, well, if we're going for a carry-heavy team, then we got to pick our carries, and then we might pick the people that are supporting lane. The solos, obviously the solos and the carries get a lot more focus than the supports do. But you think about it, that aura is so potentially powerful. Like I think if you built the right team around her, Crystal Maiden could be by far the best support. She's definitely one of the best supports, but yeah, spammable abilities with her aura, it's just kind of silly.
Yeah, like you were saying, you kind of build. And by the way, you're probably not looking at my screen, but I am, and that replay like bugged out. So now I'm in the process of trying to find another one. Wasn't that great?
Well, there you go.
That just makes it more interesting for the viewers. They can see my awesome 27-18 record. They can see that 2-5 win runner, which I'll get into it a little bit of how amazing I am with that hero, obviously, and the 3-0 Jakiro, which is why is he not picked up in professional games? Who knows? But yeah, I like if you're going to have it, like if you can have that image of what you want your team built around. If you know, like that carry or one of your carries, like you kind of saw Stole Stealer, for example, get picked up in some professional games. Not actually in the recent ones. That was more during the international, but now maybe since these new heroes have come out, he's not really being looked to pick up as much. But yeah, if you know like that's the hero you want, coop that with another hero like Weaver who spams a lot of mana, who knows. But yeah, if CM is just really impressive. I mean, it's not detriment. It's like what, 2 mana a second global at the last rank?
Yes.
You should know.
I do believe it is. I should.
You should know. That would be your expertise.
2 is my final answer. 2.0 mana regen. Yeah, I think here it is. Here's my dream lineup. It is Rattle Trap, Crystal Maiden, right? Then you get go Storm Spirit mid. There you go. And then all right, that's all I got so far. But yeah, if you pick up,
fascinating lineup.
Well, I love it. I think it's the best. Just those 3. You don't even need the other 2 people. They just go into spectator and just watch you roll kids. But no, like pick up those heroes that need their mana desperately. The other thing too is you think like Mirana, Starstorm. Oh, crazy strong ability. You think of Mirana as kind of a later game carry, but that Starstorm does a lot of damage if you get 2 of those to drop down on a hero. Like, that's like half their health early on in the game. So even just being able to give those heroes that like have good nuke spells, but they just don't get to utilize them that often. Giving them that aura, it really helps a lot. I've been picking up Ring of Basilius on Crystal Maiden. As ridiculous as that sounds, you get 5.2 mana regen. What? Like, for you and your lane mate. So, I haven't really gotten to lane with a carry that would really take advantage of it. I really don't know who you would probably say would be the best to use all that mana regeneration.
Yeah.
But, just being able to drop your spells as you please is really big. I'm even doing it a lot with Riki. Our friend plays Riki quite a bit for some reason.
He's in love with that hero, let's be honest.
Yeah, he is. And, he tells me whenever I play the Crystal Maiden with the Ring of Basilius, it's like, yeah, it's nice. I can always just jump on somebody, drop my cloud, harass them, and then I get out, no problem. And then 30 seconds later, I can do it all again.
Well, that's true. And I kind of forgot that, because, I remember when you first told me, he said that, Ricky's such a great synergizer with Crystal Maiden. I'm like, last time I checked, he's not really quite the spammer. But yeah, I mean, that cloud actually is really mana intensive. It's like 130 or something ridiculous. So yeah, if he can use his 200 mana and then get it back for another 30 seconds later, that is pretty big. I don't know overall though. I think Weaver might be the best synergizer just because he spams all day.
Yeah, when we Han for a short period of time, there's a hero really not too similar to Weaver, but they had the Shibupi move. Pretty much was the same, where you could run around invisible.
TM that
on TM, yes, trademarked. His name was a Madman. Basically, he could do the same thing, where he'd run around fast and zip through people and do damage. And he would wind up building a Lincoln Sphere to get the mana regeneration, and then just being able to block a spell, which is always useful. But yeah, you never see that on Weavers actually in Dota 2, which is kind of interesting. But they just go for the Radiance, and for the most part, just get the damage or Hood of Defiance. But yeah, getting that R really helps that a lot. And so I think it's really neat when you can kind of change heroes that you think of as late game carries, like Mirana or like Weaver. And because you give them that mana regeneration, you kind of make them early game mages too at the same time. And they can really kind of transition between roles. That's why I like Venomancer so much. He's a really transitional hero. He can start very push-oriented or very carry-oriented and switch during the course of the game to do whatever his team needs him to be. And, I really wish I was a better Venomancer player. Unfortunately, because he's... Yeah, we all do. He's so squishy, it's really kind of hard to not die a lot. And, a lot of the time, you just kind of expect Venomancer to die after he drops that ulti, but I never do it when people are around.
No, I don't see it in Dota 2 as much. I know because we watched a lot of Han games and whatnot, but a lot of the Veno players in that game built Vanguard right off the bat, and the ones we've watched, you never see that. You see more Ring of Basilius into Arcane Boots or something like that. They just really, I guess, don't value it as much.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of pipes picked up on Veno, but yeah, there's a lot of defense against the spell damage, but not from the melee damage. And then you also, when you pick up the Vanguard, you get health, which is just fantastic. And then the little bit of block, but the health regeneration, it's really nice and gives him that stability in the solo lane.
I don't know. I mean, I like Venomancer, and I don't on one hand, if he can get that really strong start. I think he's actually one of the best solo laners in the game, just because of how much harass he can put out, and then he can push his lane and control it. But middle of the late game, he's not going to carry as hard as a Mirana would. I guess I want to call them a semi-roll carry, because none of them are really hard carries. And he's not really tanky enough to survive a team fight, so I think he just really tapers off.
Yeah, I think he's definitely strong in the early game. I mean, I think Venomancer is really strong for push-oriented teams. I think it's interesting in Dota 2 you don't see him as clearly defined teams as you do in like Han, where you get straight up push teams. You can just tell. You see the picture, you're like, holy crap, we need to stop that somehow. Where in Dota 2 you get a lot more, okay, yeah, they have Chen and Veno and Crystal Maiden, but there's Faceless Void in there, and there's Night Stalkers, so they might push, but they also might gank a lot. They're also okay if they transition to the late game. So you don't get as much of that just like straight up aggression, but that's something I'd actually like to see a lot more teams really based around pushing towers and trying to get that early advantage and driving that home.
Yeah, I know that's kind of been your thing you've always harped on. I mean, yeah, you just tried Chen the other day for your first time, and I got the pleasure of watching that on player perspective, which is really great because you get to see exactly what the player themselves is clicking, where they're looking on the map and everything. Like, it's literally what their screen is showing and where they're doing, which is a pretty cool feature if you haven't actually gotten into the beta yet, but that's part of the spectating, one of the options. But I got to see from that, you know what? I think you did a pretty good job for
it was okay.
Your first time. No, it wasn't terrific,
first time, yeah.
But when you get to like those 3 minions, it's kind of hard to control all of them.
Yeah, I didn't really get a ton of opportunity to gank as much as I wanted to. There was one time, that's kind of the really unfortunate thing about playing Chen, and I guess Enchantress too, is you're trying to look for a couple of minions. You want the Centaur, you want the oh god, what's his name? The guy that does the regeneration. Or no, the one with the net and the skeletons.
He's a troll dude.
Yeah.
Troll dude.
And then yeah, I mean, there are a lot of nice things you can get. Like, even if you get one of the alpha wolves, like, they shoot like a ton of damage, and you get all that crit, and that's nice and stuff. You get obviously the guy that stuns. I don't know the names of the creeps well enough in the jungle. My bad. I'm not all learned up.
Hey, it was your first chat.
The jungle.
That's
Yeah. You get the Centaur. The really nice thing about him, I mean, everybody goes, "Oh, the stun, it's nice," but I'm like, movement speed aura, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you watch some of the professional Chens, they take forever to even just get boots. I'm not even sure what they spend all the money on. Hookers, I think, is the only logical decision.
Obviously.
That you can come to. A lot of wards and a lot of hookers, and that winds up being like 10, 15 minutes, and I guess I'll get boots. And a part of that's because you get that movement speed aura, and it's not really that big of a deal. But if you get a couple stacks of the magic resist creeps, and you're like, okay, I can't mind control you, and I gotta go to a different camp, and then you wind up forgetting about them, and then by the time you get back to that camp, you're like, oh crap, I don't have any minions, I need to kill these guys. And it's just a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. That's why you guys stick to heroes that just auto attack sometimes.
There you go. Skelly King for life.
Skelly King. And he is honestly probably, I want to say, one of the most popular beta champions selected. Like, he's probably in almost every game I've been in right now. Probably maybe just because of how simple he is. I mean, he is strong. Let's not deny that. He has the Aegis built in as his ultimate, and all he has to do is have a certain amount of mana when he dies. I mean, unless you're against an anti-mage, it's really not too much of a challenge. But yeah, and then he has the crit, which hits for, I think it's like 225% at the last rank, or something.
It's absurd.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
and then Lifesteal Aura. Hey, here's a Vladimir's on top of that.
Yeah, he's really nice. I really like him. He is really simple to play, and that's kind of one of the unfortunate things when you get heroes like that. Is whenever they win games, the other team's always like, "Oh, you just auto attack. Oh, it's so much skill." Yeah. Okay, well, but he is so much fun to play. I mean, you just get to run on top of people and beat the crap out of them and throw out a stun. And if you get yourself in a bad situation, I'm gonna res anyway. It's a really long cooldown, and that's really the balance issue of it. And then of course the mana. If you're unfortunate enough to wind up on the team with an Omni Knight, and then you're also sharing the unfortunate event of playing against people that are intelligent, and then they build the mana diffusal blade. Yeah. To purge off the Omni Knight stuff, and then they wind up beating on you because you're in front, and then you're like, ulti! Oh, no. Never mind.
Oh, my. Diffusal. Good item. I don't know. I think it's, if you upgrade it, you get another 8 charges, but in Han, it's infinite charges.
Yeah.
Which one do you think, would play better in the professional scene?
Well, I mean, infinite charges is always superior.
Well, not superior. I mean, play better than play better for gameplay. Do you think it'd be better to give these people infinite charges?
No, probably not.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of the complaints with Han, I think nowadays, especially, is it's not balanced as well as some might like. That might be one of those instances where it's like, oh, you pay another 1,200 gold, and then you go from 8 charges to 8 jillion charges, and there's no real in between, and it's really not that expensive to upgrade again,
Right.
And then you think about like ranged heroes, especially. You just walk up and you purge somebody and you laugh, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Right, and then you're draining their mana on top of it. So
yeah, and when you do consider you're going up against heroes like Omni Knight, at least in this, it's like, oh, I purged the Omni Knight off somebody. We didn't kill them still. Crap, that's one of 16 charges. And then, you really have to take advantage of those purges and the slows and the dispels.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement there. But it doesn't get picked up as much. But yeah, against certain heroes, it's kind of necessary. Probably actually the only one I can think of right now, sadly, is that Omni Knight. But
yeah. It makes it really easy to pick up.
He's such a strong hero, and that you talk about pushing teams, like he probably would be a great cornerstone for. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm not thinking straight, but I think if you get a good heal and then give someone magic immune, like I was going to say torture. That's the wrong game.
Tormented Soul. Leshrac. Yeah.
If you give him magic immune, just let him sit by a tower and just use his whatever. Isn't this sad?
Yeah, you're the winner.
Okay, well, you're not helping me.
We're professionals, ladies and gentlemen, I promise.
You're not helping
See, here's the problem. When we started the idea for Brocast, we wanted to try and cast all the MOBAs. So LoL, Han, Dota, Dota 2. And when you have 4 different names for one ability, you're
right.
just like, what?
You just try to think of them, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, like you've called Shaker Behemoth before, and hopefully people are learned enough in the MOBA scene to be able to make the translations. But yeah,
I'll just call him Shake and Bake from now on, because that's always what I called him, and that's what he does, man. He goes up, shakes, and
and he's a very good cook.
He puts that hat on, and he's in the kitchen making some delicious treats. So
there you go. When we get our own office space, instead of a Tide Hunter, we're gonna have a little shaker, and he's gonna have.
Oh, is he going to be a shaker? Is he going to be like a salt shaker or something?
No, see, instead of the log, right, he's going to have a salt shaker, and he's going to have a little chef's hat on top of his head.
Wow.
I mean, shake and bake.
Skin idea.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You think of LoL and the surprise fiddlesticks got in. Yeah.
There was that rumor, by the way, I've heard about Dota 2 possibly going to be free to play to try to compete. Do you think that is valid?
Oh, yeah. I don't think you can. I mean, look at Han. Han still struggling to get people into it, and for some reason, people just don't seem to like it. I never really had a problem with it. I enjoyed playing it when we did. But unfortunately, LoL and Dota 2 are just getting so much more play, and, it's obviously part of the reason we decided to stick to just LoL and Dota 2, but yeah, that's just the way to go. Free to play, and then if you start giving people the ability to buy customizable things, like skins and whatever, yeah, that's definitely the way to go, I think. I think another thing that kind of stops Han is you can kind of tell they just don't like the idea of going from purchasing the game to free to play and trying to make people buy the new heroes that come out for like 2 weeks of play.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it makes no sense to me. I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like, they're trying to squeeze every penny they can out of these people, and that's their business model, right? But when you release these heroes, like, it's about a month, I think it is, that it takes for them to be in the regular pool or whatever. Mm-hmm. But to pay real money, I don't know how much it is. Maybe it's $4 or $5 or something. But to pay $5 to play this guy for 3 weeks more than other people, like,
right?
What a waste.
I think the other thing too is it seems like now I'm not really sure what to think about this still, because I obviously don't play Han anymore, but. It seems like every new hero that comes out, people are just like, yeah, broken. They're just unstoppable. They're broken. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with, well, it's a new hero. You don't know how to play against them. There are some heroes where you just have to change the way you play in order to beat them. You think about Night Stalker. If you play against Night Stalker the same way you play against, like, a puck mid, you're going to get raped, because Night Stalker, as soon as 7 minutes hits, he's going to dive you by your tower, and you're going to go, dumb, broken, stupid, I'm not playing anymore. But it seems like every single hero they've come out with, it's like, No, this guy's broken. This guy's broken. This guy's broken. Gemini and what was the name of the moth guy?
Oh, the butterfly thing?
Yeah. Monarch.
That makes sense.
I believe they came out the same time, and yeah, both of them broken. And we even played with one of our friends. Actually, bought Gemini, and as we've talked about before, it just seemed like he was just really strong. So, anyway, about that game we never talk about and don't cast anymore.
But apparently, eats up at least half of our time in this cast.
Well, it's really, while we do LoL and Dota, really Han and Dota are the most comparable. And they actually play a lot into each other. We've mentioned it before in casts when the international tournament happened. Chen was picked up left and right in Dota 2. And then you saw immediately after that, the kind of Chen counterpart in Han, Ophelia, was all of a sudden all the rage. And the thing was neat about that too is in Han, the really super aggressive push-style teams were really popular. But for some reason, people didn't put it together to put Ophelia into that lineup, and so all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, AOE heal and creeps, yeah, this is just the thing to do. This is the way to go." And so for a little while there, she was really popular, and that's why I think we've been watching games with Rattletrap, who hasn't been getting power cogs, which to us is really weird because we're used to seeing Pharaoh and Han, who level 1 would get the equivalent of power cogs and play super aggressive and would sap the mana of the people he was against, so that eventually they're auto attack, while you have plenty of mana still left over for your rockets and stuff, and you're running around with the Ring of Basilia, so you're going to be able to keep up that harass.
I don't know. I think it's just I do like the power gods, of course, to follow up your ulti, but also in team fights it's displacement. I mean, there's not a lot of abilities in the game that have displacement. There's stuns, there's slows, but besides a force staff, I can't even think of another one.
Morphling.
Oh yeah.
When he's strength converted.
No, when he's full strength, it's a stun.
Oh, that's
and
right.
When he's more agility, it's a knockback. But yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's not like nothing like Rattletrap. God, there's his name. Where he can just put those cogs in a nice spot that's really hard to maneuver around, like a stairwell, or I keep calling them that, like a staircase, something really small. And yeah, you're going to cut off their whole team, and there's literally nothing they can do about it. And also, you actually might want to force the other team to build a force staff where they might not want to originally, just so they can get out of there.
Yeah, and we just casted the game from ESWC not too long ago, where First Blood was on a Rattletrap, and that was because he didn't have anything to stop them. He was running around the jungle and maybe being a little overextended for where he was, and then they started going in on him. It was a 2v3 because of the tri-lane, and he had plenty of time where he was just running away, and if he would have just had power cogs hit, he would have not only saved himself the death and a lot of health, he would have been able to sap the mana from 2 or 3 heroes at least from them trying to keep up the pursuit.
Right, which it was so early that 50 mana at that point in the game is now this guy can't use that spell because he only had enough mana to cast it twice.
Yeah, or he can only cast it once now instead of both times. Yeah,
exactly.
Now, obviously, in that situation, Windrunner turned that into a triple kill. That's not going to happen in every situation. You die on a Rattletrap, obviously. Typically, it's not what we see. Or else I would just run straight for the fountain every time on Rattletrap. That'd be hilarious. You just walk into the base and then all you have die to creeps and triple kill, Huskar. Yeah.
Well, sometimes when I look at your record, I assume that's what you did all game.
Well,
but
sometimes.
All right, that's enough hate. You play well sometimes. I'll give you that.
I
think the interesting part is when we play with our friends. When we play when I say our friends, I mean as a team of 5. If we don't play the roles we're used to, we're trying stuff out, we usually lose.
Yeah, that's probably
because we're playing against teams of 5 who do play that way, I guess, or they're more adaptive. But at the same time, first of all, we're in the beta, so we're gonna try stuff, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, some people will get mad at each other and be like, "Oh, I wish you'd play this hero or do this." But it's we're just trying to have fun and play new heroes, and I don't want to restrict anyone to it seemed like our one friend just wanted our other one to play Lich exclusively, just because Lich is so broken, good. not broken, but I don't want it. He can play if he wants to play a hard carry, so be it. I guess just I don't know.
Yeah, I know for a while, like I pretty much stick to support heroes. I mean, I enjoy them a lot, but a lot of it too is
you're really good
it's
at
like,
them.
no, I can't play agility heroes. I can't do it. It's a lot of that mentality. I played a Spectre game the other day, did fine, carried, just got my radiance pretty quick, and did just fine. Set up a lot of ganks with my ulti and stuff. But just sticking into that because you don't want to be like, well, I don't want to put my friends in an awkward position because I suck and that's why we lost the game. It's one of those kind of unfortunate things.
The thing is, too, if you are used to playing, like, supports all the time, and then you go to being a carry, because in supports, all you're really doing is denying, and, like, trying not to take last hits. And then when you go to a carry role, like, that must make you, like, think twice. Like, I know personally when it's inverse, because I usually go, like, our solo mid or something, and so I'm trying to last hit and deny, and when I try to go support for our team, like, I'm just so used to last hitting creeps. Like, sometimes I don't even think about it, and I steal kills from the carry. I'm like, oops, my bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird trying to play those roles.
I did that to you a lot.
It happens to the best of us.
Maybe that's why my win runner's 2 and 5. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. I think people might say it's a lot harder to maybe play those agility carries because you kind of have to know when to be ballsy and when you can go in and when you're safe or not, and being able to last it is a lot more important, I guess you could say, on a carry than a support. But yeah, it's really neat. They're both completely different, both important and both fun to do, I think.
Definitely. Let's move on to either. You get the choice. You know what? No, you don't get a choice. Take it back.
Door 1. I want door 1.
Door 3. We're going to go into this latest patch that came out. So, I don't know about an official title, but obviously Nyx, the Life Stealer, was released, as well as some other changes here and there, but that cute cuddly Nyx that we remember from Dota 1 is now in the game, and it's going to be interesting to see how that changes strategies around. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I really want things to change the metagame because those 3 heroes. See, I even get sick of saying it because we say it all the time. Anti-Mage, Spectre. Those heroes are so strong that we're really going to need other heroes to sort of get implemented into the game and really step it up and change how powerful those heroes are. A lot of it's just because of the limited hero pool. You don't have as many heroes to choose from for those roles. Nyx can do a substantial amount of damage. He does get really the Magic community has his own little Black King bar. He has a lot of lifesteal, which is nice. A ranged slow that is ridiculous. And then the ability to be able to hide into creeps and heal himself, be even more survivable than before. He's really interesting. I don't really know how he's going to change the game that much. I don't even think we're going to see him in competitive play, at least for a really long time. A lot of those strength heroes, unfortunately, we don't get to see very often.
Yeah, like you don't see. I don't know if I've seen Sven since the international tournament, and he's him, Skelly King. Actually, well, the thing is, I guess when these heroes are released, I don't know how long it takes. It might be a few weeks or a month, but they're not even used in the captain's mode picking. Until I guess they want to like not throw a hero in and then like a tournament starts and then like, oh, by the way, here's a hero that you haven't been practicing with. Have fun, And so I guess you gotta wait that few weeks. So yeah, we won't even see Nyx at least for like a month in competitive play. But
yeah, well, the nice thing about that is now we're going to see Alchemist in every single game.
Oh God,
because he can be picked up in captain's mode.
He is in captain's mode now, and after my dominating performance in one game I played him, I don't see why he shouldn't be.
Well, one of our friends was telling me he saw somebody pick up a Blink Dagger, and that makes just way too much sense on Alchemist. Because you think about it, the one thing that'll really mess you up is not being able to land that stun if somebody just going like, lol, invis, or something, or they just break line of sight, and you're just like, oh, and then you blow up and you're dead. But the nice thing is, if you pick up the Blink Dagger, if they're running away from you because they don't want to get hit by it, you can either A, blink up to them and be able to throw it, or if they like use an invis or something, you blink backwards towards safety, maybe towards some of your your companions, and they stop you from getting blown up as the other team laughs, since you've stunned and hurt yourself.
Well, I was talking to our friend of the show, Hoogie. Yeah, that's what I'm calling him. And he was telling me, there were alchemists that hero, at least in Dota 1, went back and forth from changelog to changelog as either being like known as the most broken hero in the game currently, and like either auto banned or picked every game, to not being played at all now. And like it's just that's kind of disheartening. And it's because I guess he's so hard to balance because of that stun. Like I remember his old stun where he would just, as soon as he started channeling on someone, he'd have to stand still, and then he could channel as long as he wanted to, go up every half second, and then that's how long they'd be stunned for. And I think the damage also went up.
Yeah, I believe so.
But yeah, I mean, like that would set up some really good games. But then, of course, like, oh, I stunned him for 5 seconds, but now he's a mile away because I was channeling standing here. So, an interesting take. They decided to be able to do it on the go. But now, if he doesn't throw the stun to someone before it takes, I think it can go up to 6 seconds total to detonate. And if you don't throw it by that 6 second mark, you get stunned and you take the damage instead of someone else. So that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, I believe it's 7, but yeah, the max to an enemy is, or yourself, the longest stun is 5 seconds. Yeah, the other thing too that's really weird about that hero too is you think he has the ability to farm. He's really tanky just naturally, and he has the longest stun in the game, I do believe. So, yeah, that's a really big change when you think about it, being able to let him move, because, like, you're saying, part of it is, if you're standing still channeling it, you're not doing anything for 5 seconds except for channeling the stun, and by the time your stun gets off, they're halfway across the map or whatever. So being able to just make him be able to move in that is huge, but then, like we're saying, okay, you can stun yourself for 5 seconds and you can do a significant amount of damage to yourself. And the first time I played him, I was hysterical. I was playing against a Marana, and I went to try and charge up my stun, and then she just like walked around the edge of a tree or something and blew up on me, and she just leapt and stormed.
I was going to say, she could just leap, and you could be screwed so many different ways from that hero alone.
Yeah. And then you think like Sand King, just Sandstorm, and there are plenty of different ways. And then of course heroes that get Blink Dagger, they can just blink.
Yeah, I was Sand King in one of our games, and there was an alchemist, and he was starting to channel up his stun, and right when he got to about 3 seconds left, because you do see the counter over his head, I just went into my little sandstorm cloud, and he's like, oh crap. He got stunned for that full duration. I just came out of my sandstorm, ulted, and stunned him, he died.
I think the best thing about that hero is watching people react to that stuff. Because in the back of their head they're thinking, oh, this is going to be unfortunate if it happens to me. But, you go in the sandstorm, and then they like stop moving forward, and then they go left, they go right, and they just like spin around that little circle, and then it's just hysterical. Just unfortunate, but just so funny.
So did anything else really happen in this patch besides the Nyx implementation?
I don't think so. I think a lot of it was just fixing bugs and whatever.
I know they fixed like the issues people would have, like if you alt-tab when you're full screen mode. Like sometimes you come back in the game and either your chat's messed up or something happens. I know that's part of it, but yeah, I think it was more just UI things really.
Just progressing the beta along.
I guess, if they have to.
I have to. It's so stupid. I got used to playing it the way it was, and I changed it on me.
Changing the beta. Gosh.
So, alright, here's my question. If you had to pick one hero that would just all of a sudden be played competitively, even if it was just for a little while, even if one team was just like, I'm just going to pick this guy up and see how he plays professionally, who would it be?
Well, we can go down this list. And it's not a super big list, because...
no, not yet.
Not yet, because obviously it's the beta, if you will. But let's see here. There's a couple good picks. I personally love Jakiro. I don't get to play him enough because I usually have to play AA to carry our friends and you. I guess you're my friend too, though. But some days you're my friend.
Do I have to be?
No, not usually.
Do I have to be?
But I love that hero. You know what? I'm going to go with him for right now, just because he's just such a fun hero to play and see in fighting. Like his double breath, of course, a really nice AoE nuke. He's got that ice path that's a really interesting line thing that skilled players will definitely prove better than others because it's kind of hard to hit. And then I mean, the auto attack thing, okay, that's not that good. But then his ultimate, oh, it's so devastating.
Yeah, he's weird. It's like all of his abilities, because obviously they're all line abilities except for the passive, which is kind of good for farming, I guess. But his three abilities he has, all of the potential hit multiple people. So it's like if you're solo, that's one thing I kind of think is weird about playing him solo. It's you hit one person with all of them. It's kind of like LOL, they don't really do anything. But if you get into those team fight situations and you're like, oh, I just did 300 damage to 5 people, and then I stunned 5 people for 2 seconds, and then they all sat on my macro pyre, and you just kind of laugh and laugh and laugh. But yeah, he's very strange. I kind of understand why it's not played. I think it's really for that reason, because when you get into one-on-one scenarios, he's very tanky for a mage. He has a high amount of base health at the beginning of the game, but yeah, that's I think
that makes sense. And the thing is, though, like at least I know recommended items. They're like courier and stuff. So I think, I guess maybe the way if he's played at all, is support instead of that solo. I like playing him as solo just because I always like to play solo mid, but I think I could see him as a decent support because he has a slow and a stun, and he does good damage throughout the game. So, I don't know. I think if you build like a mech and Sork boots on him, he can be pretty useful.
I suppose. And then you gotta build Molgeneer.
Well, that's every hero.
I got to build
especially Sam.
Maelstrom on Crystal Maiden. I'm kind of sort of infamous for building the
talk of the town.
yeah, you might say the chance to do the chain lightning on auto attack, because I played a shaman in World of Warcraft, so back in the day.
That's like just the every game cast that just
I'm just saying
Have you raided lately?
Fortunately, no, I have not. Chain lightning will always have a special place in my heart. Actually, the Thunder's Roar, the new LoL hero.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I kind of just want to buy him just because he punches people in the face with chain lightning. Come on, man. How can it get much better? But anyway, those games where they just kind of take off and you're going to win, and it's like 10 minutes in, and you're just like, we have like 8 tower kills. I don't even know how that would work in the first 10 minutes of a game. But you do. And then you're just like, you're on CM, and you're like, I have 1,600 gold. What do I do? Well, I guess I have to buy a Mithril Hammer. I mean, I don't have much of a choice. And then, you build the Maelstrom, and you laugh. And
people think you're a decent player and building like a BKB.
No.
But then you turn it into the Maelstrom, and they're like, he's better than I thought.
Yeah, he must be a professional then. I didn't even consider that strategy. Yeah, it was funny too, because I was playing with our friends, and they're like, for some reason, they even sort of thought it was a legitimate decision on my part. They're like, you don't even have the attack speed to make that viable. I'm like, all right, well, if you want me to turn into Molgeneer, I guess I'll do that. So I saved up for the Hyperstone, and it just got even better. Oh, fantastic.
Oh, gosh. You got a Molgeneer.
I didn't get to finish it. I did get the Hyperstone,
though. God, that's a pretty ridiculous game.
Well, really, it's a support item, because you get to put the shield on an ally. And yeah, it's a support item.
If it's a shield, it's a support item.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that's a damaging shield. It's just...
I guess Abaddon's not a support hero, because his shield move does damage.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. On that same topic, who would you like to see in the competitive scene? Besides that hero. Oh, okay.
I would love to see Darkseer. Now, as a general statement, I'd love to see more of a switch to gank heavy mids and like strength heroes. I really want to see more strength heroes. Like Tiny, he gets picked up as Pebbles and Han all the time as a solo mid. You get a blink diagram, you just jump on people and laugh.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do about it. As we said earlier, Skelly King just kind of gets silly after a certain point, just crit for 1,000. Huskar, he's kind of one of those heroes that's just, I think in the pubs, he's really strong. I think it's probably just because you wind up hurting yourself so much, especially with that ultimate, that he's not really picked up in competitive play, and I guess if you sheep him...
Yeah, a hero that depends on taking damage to do damage doesn't seem like a good idea from just, like, written on paper.
Yeah, but he can get really silly, especially if he can get a good farm. He picks up those tanky items, and he has the his Q ability, which allows him to regen a significant portion of his health. So the more tanky you get, the more tanky you get.
Wow, that was the best statement I have ever heard.
It makes sense. Shut up. If you get more health, that Q ability heals for more. So, yeah.
It's actually not about health. It's about your base stat.
I hate you.
You really need to learn your heroes, bro. No, but it's based on the primary attribute of the hero it's cast on.
So, I hate.
Well, no, I'm being informative. Stop the hate. So if he casts it on our good friend Mr. Ricky, who's an agility primary stat, that's actually what I was kind of thinking about. I was thinking about a comp with Chikiro. Now I call him that. Huskar and Ricky, who have like big primary stats. Like that heal is going to be so good.
That would be strange.
It would
support
be.
Huskar.
It doesn't have to be support. I just think you throw on the same team and like you throw that heal on him. Like, he's going to have a hard time dying, especially when he drops, was it under 40%, I think? That's when it, like, amplifies and heals for a bajillion.
Yeah, it does heal for quite a bit when you get to that low health. The one hero I'm really surprised that we don't see more often, actually, is Kunkka.
Yeah.
Because in Heroes of New Earth, to go back to that, Gladiator, who is, he's essentially Kunkka. All their abilities are about the same. Obviously, the numbers are probably different, but Kunkka or Gladiator was picked up like all the time for a while. He was the tri-lane hero. Tidebringer, that passive, so easy to farm with, and you just harass melee heroes out of the lane. It's so much damage. I was really sad to see. I was just jumping into a random game to watch while I was waiting for the queue to pop. There's a Kunkka who didn't put any points in a Tidebringer. So what are you doing? Yeah, no, he just didn't get it.
Just Xbox's spots and stats?
Just stats. Don't ask me how he did it.
You just put everything into stats.
Just stats. Yeah. X marks the spot, and then the knockup. That's all he did.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense, because that's essentially like a Battle Fury on a cooldown. But it's like 4 seconds. Yeah, it's just silly. But yeah, he was picked up quite a bit in Han, but we haven't seen him yet in any competitive games.
It's interesting too, because and I was talking to Hugi was kind of telling me he was pretty similar to Optimus in the sense that he was picked up for a long, long time too. And I guess with the introduction of other heroes, or maybe how they changed them, maybe that's why they decided to stop picking him up. But he's such tanky, consistent damage. I guess maybe he doesn't have a lot of burst until late game when he gets that. Was it Daedalus? How do you pronounce that? Is that it?
Daedalus.
When he gets that with his Ghost Blade, like he can come out stealth for like 1500 damage AoE.
Yeah, the Shadow Blade is huge on him. It really helps him do a lot of damage. But yeah, we have yet to see him. I think when Kunkka first came out in Dota 1, I seem to remember him being very popular. I'm really not sure what changes they made to him since then, or what really big heroes came into the game after that. But yeah, I really like to see those heroes. I really want to see Dragonite be useful, but that's just not going to happen.
It's kind of impossible.
Feels so bad.
The thing is, I don't know. I look at his skills. He has, I think first level it's a 2-second stun maybe. It's a really long stun. It's melee range, but it's good stun. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but yeah, you get that CC. He has an AoE nuke that's a kind of short cooldown. And then he also has armor and health regen. And then his ultimate, that dragon form, lasts forever. It's like 80 seconds or something. Maybe not that long. I'm exaggerating.
No, it's not.
It's like 40. Either way, it's a long time. And he does the AoE damage and all that crap. So I like all his moves. It's just like early game, I think he struggles so much that he can't get anywhere late game.
Yeah, I played a game with our friends, and they had a DC on the other side. And so it was me and Lich against one person. That was fantastic. Did really well. Got a quick Vanguard. Got Steam Boots quick. But yeah, there was a Riki on the other team. And despite having I was prioritizing my points into the Dragon's Blood, into getting the health regen and the armor, and it still just was not enough. Like, just still took like way too much damage. Wasn't able to put enough out. I think that's Skelly King, where he gets really nice. He has that stun, but his stun is of course ranged, and he gets that crit. So later on, he can just really start hitting really hard.
I don't know. you say Vanguard, I can see that, but I think he needs mana items first. Like, either Soul Ring. I think, well, personally, whoever, I don't think he should solo, probably. It'd be interesting, but he should probably be someone else. I think the other person should have a Ring of Basilisk, and then he either gets a Soul Ring, or maybe even a bottle. But, like, he's just so mana dependent. Like, if you don't get that mana early game, like, you're going to have trouble setting up kills and stuff and fall behind. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's really the unfortunate thing is the Dragon's Breath is so expensive. If it was like cheaper and you could kind of just harass with it, like, that'd be pretty sweet. But it's like they want it to be like some big damage spell, and it's just unfortunately not.
Yeah, it's not for that champion. Yeah, I agree.
I really want to see more solo carry Necrolite. I'd love to see Necrolite more.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's not picked up a lot considering how well he synergizes with a lot of lineups.
Yeah, I mean, he just works so well. I mean, there's really nothing about him that you can really not like. I mean, his spells are expensive, but his Sadist gets him the mana back. He levels that up. The Heartstop Aura, it's just % of health damage in an area around you, and the area is quite large. I mean, if you're attacking creeps with your range, just auto attack, they're getting hit by it. And then the Death Pulse, heal and damage people around you. That area is a little small, but it's slightly smaller than your auto attack range, but still just fantastic abilities all around. And there was a game I was watching last night where he was picked up and he did quite well, but yeah, unfortunately we don't get to see him more often. And the ulti staff, Aghanim Scepter, boosting that ultimate, making it so that you can basically take somebody at half health down to 0, it's fantastic.
Yeah, with the upgraded too.
Oh yeah, it
makes it more. They can have more than half health and still die.
Yeah, and you think about it, he's kind of considered like kind of a semi carry, because I mean all of his damage is spell damage. So I guess that's probably a big part of it. You kind of expect to see a pipe put up on the other team, and so it's like Q, and then it's like we still have half of our pipe on everybody.
Yeah.
But you think if you're fighting against like an anti-mage or somebody, if you get a sheep stick on that person, and then you drop a couple nukes, and then bam, ulti, they're just out of the picture right off the bat. You can take somebody out very quickly. Or even you think like a Riki who can disappear, just stun, and then necro ult, dead.
Is his ulti true damage, or is it magic damage?
I don't know. Professor?
That's a good question. I think it's magic. I was just wondering if you
I think it is as well.
But yeah, because then anti-mage would be better against it. But
see, I don't know anything.
You don't, and that's part of the problem.
You're supposed to be the professor.
I am. And compared to you, I'm
pretty to listen to.
I'm like Harvard.
I'm just pretty. Right now. Okay, we've been over this. I luck out in knowing what I talk about for the most part.
Ask any question about CM, and I probably know it.
Except for how much the R accounts for.
Except for the most important part about him.
Except for that, ask me how I build her. I'll tell you.
By the way, I know I'm not probably supposed to talk about this game I randomly threw it on, but I just have to say one thing about it.
Go for it.
There's this Pugna. This isn't pro game, by the way. This is just a random game I'm watching. It's a Pugna with a flippin' Sange and Yasha.
Yes.
Boots of Travels, plural. He has
all the travels.
No, he has one. And then Aghanim Scepter, which I never even knew what that did on Pugna until now, and it's
please share.
God, amazing. Let me share it with you.
Please do.
I will. It increases the drain per second, of course, and then sets the cooldown to 0.
Huh.
So he can just spam it.
That's very neat. I like that. I have to say,
amazing.
I seem to remember. See, it's been a really long time since we played Dota 1.
I
seem to remember a lot of the ultimate staff, the Aghanim Scepter. They would affect the ultimates, and they would be kind of generic for the most part. It's like, increased damage and shorter cooldown. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
So ultimates in different ways. I mean, you consider Night Stalker. The Scepter doesn't even really do anything to his ultimate. It just does something to him. It gives him the ability to see around him at nighttime.
Right.
Which, obviously, if you use darkness, then all of a sudden you can see around you. But, that's not something that directly ties into the ultimate even. But, that makes the Scepter something you really want to pick up. And I really like that. I hope they continue to release heroes, when when Valve finally starts, when they finish implementing the 100 and so heroes that are already a part of Dota 1, and they start making their own, I really hope to see some really interesting Augmented Scepter pickups.
See, the thing is, though, if they did it with like all the heroes, then it would just have to be bought every game.
Well, they don't have to with all the heroes. No. But, let's, like... Yeah, I think, like, Necrolite, I almost feel like... I know a lot of people don't build it on him, but I almost feel like that's, like, necessary, because that ultimate is such a big part of what he is. But, like you said on Pugna, like, yeah, if you're trying to drain tank people, absolutely, yeah, you kind of need that. But for just being, an upfront damage caster, that's not really necessary. It's just kind of nice,
Yeah, no, I can see that. I suppose.
I mean, it's like Darkseer's ultimate too, where that one with the scepter is really strange because it makes copies of your allies. I can really see not liking that, but I think if you put Darkseer in a lineup that was really push centric,
it's really good actually.
Yeah, you think about that, everybody crosses the line, and all of a sudden you have 5 more creeps.
And either beating on the tower. They're not like super squishy images. They're pretty tanky.
Yeah, so they're either beating on the tower or they're causing confusion, chasing people away. I really like that on him. I really want to play more Darkseer. I think he's really cool. Like I said, I was telling you earlier, I really want to build Ultimate Staff, Augment Scepter, I don't know why I keep calling it Ultimate Staff, on a Windrunner, because it reduces the penalty to the attack damage and orb effects. So like I was telling you earlier, here's what we do. Right? Build it on Windrunner.
Of course.
Okay. Are you still awake? Okay.
I'm still awake. You'll hear the snore.
Build Mol'Jnir. So that way, you get the attacks, the chain lightning attacks, because A, chain lightning is awesome, and B, chain lightning is awesome. C, you get the Monkey King bar, so you get the procs on attack. So you just start pumping out those attacks.
Start snapping your fingers. That's how powerful it is.
You just do a little jig, and they can't stop you. You're just chaining all over the place, and you just got shots flying, and it's a whole thing. It's just a whole thing. Oh, I think it'd be fantastic. It doesn't make any sense with her at all. Like, you're essentially just using the one move and the ultimate, the Augment Scepter ability, but
I mean, auto attack damage is good, and you shackle shot someone, they're stunned for like 3.5 seconds, so
that's a long time to beat on somebody.
That's a long time to attack.
And the other thing too is if you're using that even on towers, yeah, you're not going to get the orb effect, but you're reducing the damage penalty. So, and really, if you built Windrunner the same way, because you have to build the staff first to make this strategy work, right? So you make her solo, you wait till like level 10 and then 11 to pick up the 2 ranks of the ultimate, and then you start,
See, here's the question then, for this obviously good hypothetical situation.
Yes.
Do you build Scepter first, or do you get the damage item, like one damage item first?
I'm going to get the... Oh.
Yeah.
I would say you get the Scepter. Because Scepter, that's the one thing I do like about Scepter now, is because it requires one of everything. It's really nice, because Windrunner, it's like, okay, she gets int, so she gets the damage. She gets the agility, so that gives her some attack speed. Then you get some health, and that's nice too. And then you get mana and health, which is also really beneficial for her, because it makes her tankier, especially if we're talking about her in a solo situation.
What hero doesn't benefit from health and mana?
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It really applies well for everybody. And while, yeah, it's not like you're building like a damage item where it's going to help you last it significantly better, but you are picking up damage. You're picking up attack speed because of the other 2 items that are part of it. So there you go. Here's my thing, too. For anybody listening to this, please, for the love of God, find heroes with nutty Augment Scepter abilities and build stuff around it. You can't have my Windrunner. That's mine. Okay? Find a way to do something nuts. Trademarked, yes. Bro stamped.
Mine. I like that. Bro stamped.
Bro stamped. So,
sounds like tramp stamp, though, and I don't like that.
Well, I mean, if it's a bro symbol, though. What if it's like our bro tag on some chick's back? I think.
Now that would be nice.
I'm going to get a picture of that. Don't worry. I got my sources.
Send them in, everyone.
Yes, you're welcome to. We will enjoy them multiple times.
Wow.
Anyway, so what you do is... Okay, back to what I was saying. So here's what you do. Build Augment Scepter on a nutty character. I will accept Darkseer. I'll accept some of these heroes that you don't really see it on that often. Send us your videos to... Go ahead, Jay. Say it. Say the Gmail.
Brocasts, that's plural, BROCASTE, no E, S, at gmail.com. Just brocasts@gmail.com.
We here at Brocast give J4Y a lot of slack. Letters, kind of his nemesis. It's his kryptonite, actually. If you get to go through some of our other casts, he had a fantastic time opening a cast.
The problem is, I bought Hooked on Phonics, but I couldn't read the label of how to start it up.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle, really.
Honestly, you know.
How does I read to learn how to read?
Oh, that makes me pathetic now. So, I guess then, on the topic of picking stuff, I'm going to throw it at you. You love pushing so much. Mm-hmm. Name me, right now in the beta, your 5-man pushing team. You can take a little time, but go ahead.
I will take a little time, actually. Thank you very much. See, I think the thing that really makes those pushing teams really effective is you have to have people that can gank. Furion is obviously very good at that. Definitely pick up Furion. I would say... See, that's part of the problem. I think a lot of the really good pushing heroes are also jungle heroes. You think Enigma, Furion. Who else am I thinking of? Chen, obviously. Enchantress, even.
So you're going to have 2 junglers, 3 junglers?
I'm going to have 8 junglers on one team. We're going to make it work. No, I'm just saying that I think part of getting a really strong push teams is a lot of the strong pushers are jungle heroes. But I would probably pick up Furion for the jungle. You could run Dazzle. I'm trying to think of a good person for Dazzle to go with. See, you caught me.
I did.
No,
I wanted to.
Okay, let me wait on the side lanes. In the solos, you get Necrolite, and you get... Who's our other solo going to be? It's going to be... pick up Rattle Trap. See, there you go. Rattle Trap,
really?
Furion, Necrolite, Dazzle.
You have one more.
Mm-hmm. No, I know.
Do you?
I'm picking well.
And Alchemist. And T-Pain.
Yes. And T-Pain, yes. See, if this was like a legitimate team,
Alchemist actually wouldn't be half bad. I'm not even trolling you here.
I'm sure you're not.
He clears creep waves. His ulti lowers his base attack speed, and he has a ton of health and mana regen, so he can just tank the tower all day.
Okay, shut up, Venomancer. That's my last pick.
How could you forget about that guy?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
So there you have the Furion pets, you have Venomancer wards, you have the heal that's going to help drop turrets quickly. Rattle Trap is going to give you... Oh no, you picked Beastmaster. I'm sorry. As much as I love Rattle Trap... Oh wait, no, we already have a solo. Sticking with Rattle Trap. Rattle Trap approach the lanes. He gives you the opportunity to gank. Furion also gives you the opportunity to gank. Venomancer is plenty of slow and dot damage. Yep, I like it.
You know who I'm...
Leshrac is the one person I would
That's what I was going to say. I'm disappointed you didn't include Leshrac in that.
Yeah, I think I like Necrolite better, I think, for semi-carry later on. I do like Leshrac, but I think Necrolite, just because he gets so tanky, too. He's also going to be able to get the farm to get a Sheep Stick, potentially, as a second, third item. Because the other thing, too, is you kind of have to have insurance if you do go to the late game and you're like, oh, crap, now we have to fight Spectre. Well, it's over. You know, that's kind of the give and take you get with this, is you have to be able to get really strong farm in the first 20, 25 minutes of the game. You have to be able to push 2-3 towers in the first half hour to be able to get 1 or 2 solid items up and then be able to get started on your control of the enemy carry if they have one.
Okay.
Done.
I can see that. You know what? Good job.
Yeah, it is. All right, now, because you're a jerk, how about you just pick 5 agility heroes to put together into a team?
Really?
No.
Okay. I can do
it. Okay, here's what we do. Challenge number 2, viewers. Get you and 9 of your friends, if anybody has that many. I'm not even sure it happens.
You barely have 1 right now.
Pick half. It's close enough. Pick you 5 agility team heroes. Place them against the team I just listed, which I don't even know if I can remember what it is. Furion, Venomancer. Oh, I'm going to do it. Rattle Trap. Come on. Necrolite and T-Pain. Dazzle.
Yeah.
Oh, I would actually... I think that would be hilarious to watch that versus 5 agility heroes and see who would win.
What do you mean? You honestly think that would be close?
Yeah.
The pushers will dominate.
Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, okay.
Mirana.
Continue.
Bloodseeker. Broodmother.
Oh, Broodmother, actually, that's a good one.
And Sir Jugs a lot.
No. You would get... No, you're wrong. You would get... Sorry, you're really wrong. You would get Nevermore for mid.
Wrong. Continue.
No, it's obviously right. I'll explain why. Let me do my picks. You had yours. I'd do Nevermore for mid. I would do Vengeful Spirit with a hard carry. Probably... Ooh, that's tricky. I'd probably say either Anti-Mage or Spectre. Just someone really beefy that'll kill everyone. And then the other lane, I'll send Mirana with maybe either Broodmother or...
You have to pick Broodmother.
You know, honestly, it'd probably be Broodmother. Well, you don't have to. I mean, she's good, but she's better in a solo. And I already had Nevermore in a solo. And the only reason I really want Nevermore is to clear creep waves that are pushing.
I suppose. I think I'd rather have Broodmother than Nevermore.
I think Nevermore, like I said, because you're up against the treants, the creeps from the jungle. I don't know. I just think it'd be useful to be able to clear those out as fast as possible.
That's true. Although, yeah, the reason I picked Broodmother is because one of the weird thing about agility heroes is you're waiting for endgame. It's kind of a really loose term, and if you can provide early hero kills, tower kills, you're bringing the end of the game closer. Essentially, by getting those gold items faster, they're getting closer to finishing. That magical set of 5 items and boots. On those really hard carries. So yeah, I don't know, because if you don't have someone really good to push those towers, then you really do have to wait for the 35-40 minute mark instead of maybe being able to do it at like the 30-35 minute mark.
I guess I could see that potentially. All right, so what's our final segment for this show? No, did we already go into that?
Boobs. I think it was boobs.
Okay, I guess I'll pull them up.
Well, the only other thing I think was the heroes you do see a lot in competitive play, and I think we've kind of already been over that. Faceless Void Spectre. I'm really waiting for heroes to come knock them out. Faceless Void Spectre, Anti-Mage, yeah, they're just so strong. And luckily we've seen a lot of Drow play. We've seen a lot of Mirana. Every once in a while, heroes like Viper and Weaver get in there.
Yeah, Drow's really come in a lot more. And I mean, I don't think I've seen her win a game yet, which is pretty unfortunate. But I don't know. I think she has potential. I don't like her as much as other heroes, though. I like her silence, but her frost arrows, let's face it, in a team fight's worthless. Like, if it reduced attack speed, too, or something...
That'd be kind of silly.
Well, it would be, but I'm just saying maybe it'd actually be practical in a team... I'm thinking also team
silly
fight.
Awesome.
But,
yeah.
Okay, fine. And then, yeah, the silence is, of course, good. If she's not stunned or whatever, she can actually cast it. And then her aura, I mean... I don't want an aura on my carry. I want my carry to do the damage and someone else have an aura for her.
Mm-hmm.
And then her ultimate does more damage, which is nice. I'm not going to deny that. But
yeah, I think that's why Vengeful Spirit's so nice as a support, because you get stunned and then you get the minus armor on potentially 5 people, And Crystal Maiden, her aura is so nice.
Well, in Han, I mean, yeah, I cut you off because I'm rude. In Han, there would be that one lineup that was run a lot. It was Pestilence, Vengeful Spirit, and Nevermore at least, just for the minus armor stacking.
Pestilence being Slardar, for anybody who doesn't know.
But yes. Yeah, so they just stacked tons of minus armor, and then just anyone would just melt instantly.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, you saw it a lot on the Roshan kills too. I mean, just 5 seconds and he's dead because of so much minus armor.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah. So, anything else going on in the world?
There was one thing that I think I wanted to bring up in closing. Oh, I think that's really cool. You never really think about or hear about, but is actually really neat. The Beastmaster change. Back before when we played Beastmaster in Dota 1, it was the really silly where it was the longer you attacked a hero, the longer you attack something, the faster Beastmaster attacked. And That was just silly. But now it's actually an attack speed aura for people around you. Very nice change. You know, that's something that's really neat to see Beastmaster with those hard carries, because he helps get them to attack faster. You think people like Faceless Void, who benefit from the attack speed so much because of the chance to bash Anti-Mage, you know, the faster he attacks, the more mana he's burning. Really cool. And that's something I think people don't really take into account a whole lot when you think of Beastmaster, because, you know, that is often the last thing people level, but it's still pretty significant when you think about it.
Yeah, and that used to be Troll Warlord's thing. He used to have that fervor, that attack speed aura, and then they changed him a lot.
Yeah, I haven't.
I'd be
interested to see him in the game,
because I watched a couple Dota 1 games in, I guess, sort of recent times, but I'm not going to try to sit here and pretend like I know what all the moves exactly do. All I know now is he has, like, all his moves, first of all, do different things depending on the stance he's in.
Very cool.
Like, I think his ultimate's probably still the same. You know, crazy attack, movement, speed. And then now he has, like, a conal nuke. Like, he throws axes.
Very cool.
And then, but if he's in the melee stance, it's like this whirlwind of axes around him in a circle or something. It's really interesting. I don't know if he's better or worse for it, but... Oh, and I think they did something to blind, I feel like, just because it was so imbo. Maybe they replaced it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the neat thing is, even though, you know, essentially Dota 2 is a take on Dota 1, you know, they still are slightly different, and so heroes might not function exactly the same. So even though we already kind of have an idea of how some of those heroes might play in the competitive scene in Dota 1, you know, there's still a lot of room for new heroes to come up and really kind of jump into the scene in Dota 2 where they really didn't have a place in Dota 1. And by the same token, heroes that are so popular in Dota 1 really not being as effective in Dota 2.
Indeedly. So,
yes.
What are we going to try to do next time?
Nothing.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yes. I was going to do a little dance. I was going to actually... I was planning on just making different songs for you know, intros and outros, you know, and then just have people vote on which one they like the best.
This is why our viewer count is so low.
Well, you know, maybe once I find a really good song, it'll lure people in. You never know.
That sounds like a crazy creeper thing you just said there, but
yeah. Well, you know, candy is also good for luring people. I would like to, I think, next time maybe go over, have some of how the teams are being built in the competitive scene, you know, really looking at what kind of combinations seem really strong and, you know, what other combinations we think people aren't taking advantage of enough.
Yeah, we'll have to see, of course, when we get there. We're in the process of getting a website. It's a long process, and we want it to look pretty and good for everyone. You know, we don't want to rush it or anything. So be on the lookout for that, where we'll be able to upload all these and hopefully convert them into sound files so you can see. You don't have to watch these amazing pub games I've been streaming this whole time. Although you do see interesting builds in some of them, but you know.
There you go. And also, you know, I mean, if I do decide to do the song intros, I might do a little dance thing too.
Well, that's something to watch.
Yeah, well, you'd have to see that. That you don't get a choice.
Oh,
that will just...
I also want to try to shout something out that I have an idea for, that we have an idea for. Hopefully sometime in the future here, we can start hosting people that actually have the Dota 2 beta. Obviously, it's not going to work if you don't have it. But if you do, we're going to try to host some custom private games and, you know, get our viewers in here. And we'll actually spectate and commentate on your guys' games. So you'll be on TV. You can say hi to mom and everything.
There you go. Hopefully we can do that on the weekly or bi-weekly basis. If you don't have a Dota 2 key, what I would suggest you to do is draw pretty pictures of your favorite heroes beating the crap out of all 5 of the other team. And, you know, I think if you and 4 of your friends draw convincing enough pictures, then, you know, we might just not even need you to play the game to say you won.
Or you could just sign up for the beta, the Steam thing.
Well, whichever you find easier to do.
I suppose so.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, for our very first podcast. Hope to have very many more coming at you in the future. I'm BDLM here with my buddy
Jay. That's my name. Don't wear it out. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
I will wear it out.
I hope you don't.